Admiral Krixvex adjusted his ceremonial battle cloak as the massive viewscreen displayed the primitive blue world hanging in the void. Earth, home to the upstart species that dared refuse the Dominion's generous offer of servitude. Pathetic, he chittered to his second-in-command. Look at their defenses, chemical rockets, kinetic weapons, nuclear fission. They haven't even mastered basic plasma technology. Commander Thelmore nodded agreement, his mandibles clicking with amusement. Intelligence reports they still fight wars on their own planet's surface. Barbaric. The Valkyrie Second Fleet and our forces will make quick work of them. The joint armada was impressive, 600 ships between the two allied species, each vessel bristling with particle cannons and quantum torpedoes. The humans had maybe 50 outdated ships defending their homeworld. It would be over within hours. Begin the attack, Krixvex ordered. Show them the price of defying the Dominion. The first wave of alien vessels swept into Earth's orbital space, energy weapons charging. Human ships moved to intercept, clumsy, primitive craft that shouldn't have lasted seconds against superior technology. Then something impossible happened. The lead Dominion cruiser, Death's Edge, simply vanished from sensors. One moment it was there, the next, gone. No explosion, no debris field, just empty space where a kilometer-long warship had been. Sensor malfunction, Krixvex growled. Reset the. 2 more ships disappeared. Then 5. Then an entire squadron of Valkyrie destroyers winked out of existence simultaneously. What in the void is happening? Commander Thelmore's voice cracked with the first hint of fear. The human fleet hadn't fired a single shot. They simply continued their approach, their primitive ships somehow causing advanced alien vessels to vanish into nothingness. Then the screaming began. Admiral Krixvex had heard many sounds of death across the galaxy, the death cries of a dozen species. But this was different. The emergency communications from the vanishing ships carried something that chilled him to his core, pure, primal terror. Admiral, came a panic transmission from Captain Vortek aboard the Stellar Wrath. Something's happening to my ship. The hull is being eaten by nothing. I can see space through the walls but there's no breach. Admiral, what kind of weapons? The transmission cut to static. Through the viewscreen, Krixvex watched in horror as more ships began to simply dissolve. Not destroyed, consumed by an advancing wave of absolute darkness that seemed to devour light itself. Whatever it touched ceased to exist, leaving behind not even the memory of matter. Retreat. Krixvex ordered. All ships, retreat immediately. But the darkness was spreading faster than their ships could flee. The Valkyrie Second Fleet found themselves trapped as the wave of nothingness surrounded them. Their final transmission spoke of crews aging decades in seconds, of ship systems being rewritten at the quantum level, of reality itself becoming negotiable around the human vessels. Admiral Valkyrie's last words before his flagship was consumed were burned into Krixvex's memory. They're not using technology, they're using something we can't comprehend, something older than. Silence. Half the joint armada was gone. 600 ships reduced to 300 in mere minutes, and the surviving vessels were in full retreat. The primitive humans hadn't even fired their crude weapons. As Krixvex's flagship jumped to hyperspace, he caught one final glimpse of the human fleet. They had stopped their advance and were simply watching, their ships dark against the star field. Waiting. Patient. The intelligence reports had been wrong about everything. The humans weren't primitive, they were beyond the need for conventional warfare, beyond the limitations that governed the rest of the galaxy. The Dominion's greatest fleets had encountered humanity's true nature, and it had swallowed them whole. In the depths of space, where 2 alien armadas had screamed their last, only silence remained. And in that silence, humanity's message was perfectly clear. Some things are dismissed as primitive because they no longer need to prove they are not.